Hello everyone, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. This reading is not meant for any specific sign. If you're seeing this, it is meant for you. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, everyone, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. Okay. Hierophant, very good card to start out with, especially for a collective reading for all of you. The Hierophant is the way in which we allow ourselves to be taught and the way we teach others. It's all about sharing wisdom, right? It's all about helping each other, really. This is the card of help from those that have some help to offer, okay? And I think that we have to be reasonable, and we have to acknowledge that there are some things in life that I don't know how to do. You know, maybe I know how to read tarot cards a little bit. I don't know how the cameras work. I certainly couldn't run the website that YouTube has to distribute this video to everybody. So it's not always about the direct like mentorship or directly having a pupil in your life that you're giving instruction to, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go back to school or that we have to, go take a class or something like this. Those are great ideas. Those are great ideas. I can't wait till I can, I have the time and the money to start taking classes again and learning new skills, And when we're taking a class or we're learning a skill, there is somebody there that's giving us instruction in something that we don't know, but we want to know, right? Because we have a thirst, we have a hunger, we have a curiosity. So this card, for it to be really effective, it needs us to be curious. We have to be willing to always learn and grow. And to do that, I think we have to be aware. We have to acknowledge that there are things we don't know, but we want to know. So I think that most of you are lifelong learners. Okay, let's see where this energy is going. And I think with that lifelong learning, it also is incumbent upon us to sort of teach too. What are you doing with all this knowledge, all this wisdom, all this experience that you're gaining, right? What are we doing with it? Let's see. Got an Ace of Pentacles. All right, we're doing something. Ooh, an Ace. Nice. Ace of Cups and Ace of Pentacles. We've got a Knight of Cups. Got a Queen of Wands. Okay. And we got another Knight, a Knight of Swords. This is really good. I can kind of see what's going on here. We got a 2 of Pentacles, a 10 of Pentacles. Oh, yes. A 9 of Wands, of course. And another Knight. This is cool. This is all about the future. This is all about the path that you're going to take. And if that is the question, what is it that you're learning? Are you starting a new path in learning or teaching? Ace of Pentacles. You're starting a new path. Okay. Is it a path of sort of, of teaching what you know or learning something new? Maybe it's a combination of both. We sort of see that over here with the 2 of Pentacles. But this is something that I think is, we need to start planning for this. We need to get this going, right? We have a Knight, and a Knight, and the Knights are all looking at the future, okay? The Knight of Cups is looking at that 10 of Cups, right? The future happiness, the dream come true. And the Knight of Swords is kind of looking at the future too, but sort of looking at that 10 of Swords. It's kind of saying, is this a reasonable goal to have? It's like these two are having a conversation. The heart and the mind. Thinking of the future plans, thinking really of what the Knight of Pentacles is looking at, which is the 10 of Pentacles. These two are looking at your situation and looking at the future and thinking, I feel it. This is what I really need to do to feel alive, to feel blissful, to feel satisfied and fulfilled. Right? My dream come true. And then it's the mind's job to say, okay, let's think this through. Is there a reasonable means to get there to that goal, that destination? Right? Can we do it? Do we have the resources? Well, I think Spirit's saying, yeah, you do, or you will. Logically speaking, do we have what it takes? Do we have the time, the energy, the will? Do you have the heart? Do you really, really want this? And that's the mind's job, is to sort of challenge you, to try to put things in perspective, to try to think, okay, your heart wants this so bad, your heart's willing to just run forward and do it. And so as you're ready to kind of you're ready to pay the tuition, right? But it's the mind's job. And it's very cool that this is the only air card we have. Because this is that air card that says, wait a minute, I dig what you're thinking about or what you're feeling for the future, but let's talk about it. Let's have that conversation, make sure that it's something that we can actually do. Okay? And that's the mind's job, to put a little bit of a check on that, to sort of test our theories. The heart wants to rush into something. The mind says, okay, cool, yeah. Let's see how it'll work out. Let's think about it, Let's select our mystery card. Bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. I don't usually do these collective readings. I feel kind of out of my element, to be honest with you. Here's our mystery card. We're going to put it right underneath our little sea turtle friend. I think it's a sea turtle. I could be wrong. If you know what it is, let me know. If you have a name, perhaps, for our sea turtle friend, put it in the comments down below. If you want to help me predict that card, put your guesses, your predictions in the comments down below. All right, let's do it together. I think it'll be a great exercise for the collective. Let's practice our intuition. Okay? That card is going to tie everything together at the end and give us our conclusion, give us our confirmation. All right. Let's take a look around the room, because this is very interesting that the only major arcana energy we have is the Hierophant. And what do we see with the Hierophant but a lot of people, right? We have 4 court cards. And if I have 3 or more court cards, that's when I say, okay, there is a lot of people around you. It's kind of like there's 1, there's 2, well, there's a whole bunch. So I don't know if it's 3 or 4 or 100. But I feel that there is a lot. It could be classmates. It could be you giving instruction to more people. It could represent just the world itself, and how you are in your own very specific and unique way disseminating your wisdom to the world, your experience. You have a lot to teach the world. I don't care how old you are. You could be a teenager. You could be in your 90s or your 120s. You have a lot to teach. You have a lot to give. Okay? And other people need to hear your voice. Okay? I also think you have more to learn. And I like that we have that duality. I'm very thankful for the 2 of Pentacles here. But it really is all about this Hierophant and the way that we are receiving wisdom and the way that we are giving wisdom out. Surrounded by a lot of other people. All right? Could be that you're gathering a lot of people to you. It could be that maybe, I don't know, if you got kids or grandkids or students, or if you work in a situation or you work for a company or maybe a charity, maybe you're volunteering, where you are helping a lot of people. Okay? And it doesn't have to just be teaching, like textbook teaching instruction. You could be showing people how to do something, right? You could be kind of running a community garden or an art class, or, maybe you're in an art class or you're learning how to garden or something, right? It can be very hands-on. It can be a technical skill. It doesn't have to just be you're sort of teaching a curriculum from a textbook or something, right? But it is about helping others and not necessarily limited to just teaching. We're helping somebody by, let's say teaching them how to fish, right? That sort of thing. So I like it. But that's the only major arcana energy we have. We do have some fire, which we got to talk about. We do have some water that I really like. We have a little bit of air, and the air is the central thing. The air is kind of like, let's look at the future. Let's look at what the heart and sort of the body, I guess, all right? Let's look at how this is going to feel, and let's look at what the details are down the road. And let's use this Knight of Swords to start. I like to shake the cards like we're in an iPhone. Let's use the Knight of Swords to start developing the plan. Let's flesh it out, right? Let's add some practical steps that we're going to take. What are we going to do? How are we doing this, right? Because we've got this Ace of Pentacles. It's time to start something. And it doesn't have to be a narrow path. It could be a very wide path. It can have both teaching and learning, right? Both helping and receiving guidance or receiving help. Okay. I think this is the perfect card for a collective reading, this Hierophant. I think this is just amazing, right? I feel like in whatever you're doing in life, let's focus on how we are taking what we are receiving and we are kind of spreading it out, giving it to others. Okay? That we're getting some guidance or some wisdom, or we're learning something, or we're having an experience, and then you go and you share your experience with somebody else. You tell it to your friend. Right? This could be an idea of paying something forward. Right? Remember that whole thing. Right? It's a beautiful, beautiful practice. Yeah. Sort of like someone does you a favor, so you go out and you do somebody else a favor. Pretty soon everybody's doing things for everybody else. The world's a much different place, right? The Ace of Pentacles is about taking that step. Doesn't have to be a long-term commitment. It's not saying you got to go, enroll in a university or something. It doesn't say that you have to take some sort of a job or volunteer somewhere where you can sort of, provide your assistance to others. But let's think of how we can be of service, how we can help someone, how we can pay something forward, how we can teach something, right? How we can help each other. One little moment at a time. Well, let's start doing it. Yeah. The Ace of Cups down at the bottom here, I feel like this is important because you have to have a desire for this, right? And that to me kind of feels like the Ace of Cups kind of feels like that thirst or that curiosity, right? You have to have that open heart. You have to have that open heart chakra, right? To let this water energy flow. The Ace of Cups is the source of all of that love and creativity and compassion and empathy. And it's going to spread out into all these other rivers. So from this source, I think each one of us is a different current, a different river. Now, we might be parallel rivers, so we can wave at each other, right? We might be kind of crossing the rivers a little bit. But the point is that all of the aces, really, are the sources. And they branch out and they become, of course, the 10. They nourish and nurture and they water every other aspect of life. Okay? And just the 8 of Pentacles now turning into that 10 of Pentacles, I think is showing sort of the exponential growth that if each one of us does one thing like this today, whether we either learn something new or we share something with somebody else, okay? Either or both. I think if each of us just does one of those kinds of things, it's going to be this exponential growth. It's going to be just billions and billions of billions of this positive energy. Yeah. Of course, we have to want it. We need that Ace of Cups underneath everything. The Knight of Cups is looking at the future. I think that you've always sort of been the kind of person that wants to learn, that wants to grow, that wants to be of service, that wants to follow your heart. This card is all about following your heart, and we're kind of the mind, the Knight of Swords, is asking us to kind of follow through with that, and even let's develop a plan of how we're going to do this. What are some practical things that we can do? You know, and it doesn't even have to be all that complicated. Just holding the door for somebody, complimenting somebody, sharing something that we have with someone else, or if it's just going and trying to even make the effort to discover what it is we want to do or learn, right? Let's try to learn something new every day. However seemingly meaningless it is. It could be just a random fact, right? But I think that most of us in this collective feel that sort of yearning, feel a heart that is open and wants to be connected and wants to pursue sort of deeper connections. This card's all about the giving and receiving, right? And of course, when we're thinking in terms of the Hierophant, that giving and receiving makes sense. It's done out of love. It's done with compassion. It's done with empathy. Okay, it's not just some formal kind of, formal education. So that might be part of it, but you've got to really want it. It has to come from your essence. Yeah. There is this Queen of Wands that we need to talk about up above everything. The Queen of Wands, sort of a stubborn energy, right? But the queens all look at the past. Okay? And I wonder if the Queen is looking at the past, looking at the sort of water energy of the Knight of Cups. And I wonder if there is a little bit of an obstacle to you pursuing some of these things that you really truly feel, that you love, that you feel are going to just sort of further connect you with the world, You have this curiosity, you have this thirst, you have this hunger. This might be what's preventing you from going after it. And maybe this is an awareness of the past and now this very guarded energy. So it could be that you've followed your heart before and maybe you've gotten burned. Sometimes the Queen of Wands has to reconnect with the heart. I think that's why the Queen of Wands is at the top and the Ace of Cups is down here on the bottom. It's kind of saying we got to reconnect these. You got to put the heart back in that Queen of Wands and have that burning passion toward, toward your best life, right? This interconnected, very full, very rich life. And it adds to the richness of life, these sorts of activities, right? The kindness, the being of service, the learning, the teaching, all this stuff adds to that exponential growth, that sense of fulfillment. It is your best life. It is not only your best life, but it's the best world for all of us. You are creating a better world, sort of one step at a time, right? One thought, word, or deed at a time. But there is that blockage, that Queen looking at the past, probably thinking that, there's a risk involved. Anytime we're following our heart via this Knight of Cups, there's a risk. There's a risk that we'll, run into a bad situation, we'll get taken advantage of, that we will pursue this love and affection, but we will be disappointed. Okay. And indeed, I think that that's a very reasonable blockage, especially because we don't see any more water cards. The water is sort of here, and it's the mind that's saying, okay, let's make a good plan to do that. Then they got the Queen up there saying, I don't know, we've tried to do that before, it didn't work out. The mind is saying, okay, the mind and the heart are working together. Okay, we have mind, we have heart, and we have the will. The will needs to connect with that sense of purpose. In other words, maybe you haven't found the right thing yet. Maybe nothing has really spoken to you. Well, that's why now the heart and the mind are working together. These are both knights, water and air, heart and mind, collaborating, saying what is our purpose? What is our intent? Are we going to do something, maybe something academic, maybe something that sort of, maybe we're going to be a writer or an artist, maybe we're going to share stories, maybe we're just going to go volunteer, maybe I'm just going to make an effort to be more kind to people, maybe I'm going to do something with animals, right? You want to make sure that it speaks to you. You find your purpose. Connect with that sense of purpose. So, we got to connect with the ace. The Ace of Cups becomes the Ace of Pentacles, right? And, sort of vice versa too, because the Pentacles are the vessels of every other energy. Because this is the physical act. This is the behavior. And your behavior has to be under will. It has to be full of heart. It has to be true, right? It has to be in accord with your sense of purpose. It has to be meaningful and satisfying to you. Your best life, 10 of Pentacles, is not really your best life if it doesn't have the 10 of Cups in there, or the 10 of Wands, or even the 10 of Swords in there. It's just empty shell. Okay? And the Ace of Pentacles would be an empty shell. It would be a wasted step if it wasn't full of purpose, if it wasn't, full of heart. The path with heart, right, as Castaneda used to write about. Okay. I also think that some of you are expecting a new addition to the family. I don't know if that is in the form of a human life, or if we're talking about bringing in a new pet or something like that. Yeah. I feel like there's something new beginning for a lot of us here. And I think it's going to take many different forms. For each one of you, you have to figure out what form this is taking for you. And that's kind of the point of the reading, is that you have to find out what this is and then do it. It's kind of like we find our gift, we find our purpose, and then we do it. We give it away. We share it. We spread it out to the world, right? And that creates a better world. So I think that a lot of new things are beginning right now. And maybe we should talk about the path of the serpent. As we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free, doesn't cost anything, supports the channel. I have another channel, Dove and Serpent Bedtime Stories. Go check me out over there. I try to do 1 or 2 stories every week. Okay, so we're just sort of getting started there with that one. The Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles, I think, is sort of reminding us of diversity a little bit, in that we don't have to live within this idea that our purpose, whatever our Ace of Cups is, only has one Ace of Pentacles that it can be. Your sense of purpose is not limited to just one specific step, one specific thing, one specific detail. Right? Your sense of purpose, your inner beauty, your heart chakra, your compassion, your love, your essence can be expressed in many, many different ways. Okay? It's kind of like saying that, your purpose is, you have this love for music or something, right? Well, it doesn't mean that you have to be, a singer. It doesn't mean you have to play the drums or play guitar. Doesn't mean you have to play anything. It could be an audio engineer. You could be a producer. You could be a marketing person, right? But it's in that musical sphere, right? And it could be many different things. So I think it's reminding us not to be too limited in what might pertain to us or to our sense of purpose and to our path, right? I always say the details can be very, very different, but the essence remains the same. This is also talking about step 2, right? We've got the first step here with the ace, and this is going to be the step 2, right? This is also reminding us that it's sort of a process that feeds back in on itself, right? This is sort of a figure 8, right? It's kind of the lemniscate, the infinity symbol, when it kind of looks like a pair of eyes too. It reminds me of an owl. I don't know who out there's got the owl, or the owl symbolism is very important to you. But it keeps looping back in on itself. right? So it's sort of like we're learning, we're teaching, we're learning, we're teaching, we're giving, we're taking, we're giving, we're taking, we're helping, we're being helped, we're helping, we're being helped. And it's sort of, it's what keeps the world going. It's kind of, it's being able to alternate yin and yang, you know, going between the poles, going between the opposites in a way. Sort of actively doing and then passively sort of receiving, and vice versa. And so we're always staying in motion. Okay? Nobody can just give all the time. Sometimes we've got to take. We've got to do both, you know. So this isn't really about you just being of service and sort of depleting your own stores, your own reserves, your own resources. No, it's kind of, you know, you've got to replenish what you have if you're going to be able to share it. If you're a teacher, there's only so much you can teach until it just becomes stagnant. You got to go and have your continued education, you know, and I think continued education is important in every field. I was an EMT for a brief period of time, and we went through the class and you got certified. You took the test, and you know, I aced the test, by the way. But the idea is that you're not done. You know, every year, I think, at least in California, you needed like 20 hours of continued education every couple of years or something like that. And so you have to stay up on the skills. You have to continue to learn more. And the more you learn, the more you teach, the hungrier you get. You know, it's kind of like you eat a bunch of food and then you go and exercise. Well, you're going to be hungry again. You're going to have to eat more food. Right? And that's living. That's life. I love to work really hard and then have a nice satisfying meal, and then after let it digest a little bit, right? Don't swim after eating, that sort of thing. Then you go out and you have all this fuel to go and apply yourself to life again. You folks, all of us, are applying ourselves to life in a way that I think is building a better life for the world, building a better world for the life in the world. Yeah. And that really brings us to the Ten of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles is your best life. Okay? I think this card is saying that there are resources, the means are going to be present on your path, because this Ten of Pentacles is in the environment. I think Spirit is going to put the people, places, and things on your path as you need them. In other words, you know, accept the generosity of others, accept what's coming into your life. Okay? I think any endeavor you undertake right now is going to be a success. Going from an ace to a 10, it's kind of like you can see the beginning, you can see the end. Everything in between is going to work itself out. As long as you start and you know where you're going, right? You have the destination. You know what kind of life you're trying to build, or what kind of world you're trying to build, or what you're trying to accomplish, whether this is today or in a week or 10 years down the road. You have this picture of your best life. You have this picture of what success means, or what the accomplishment or fulfillment means. And everything in between will work itself out. Again, this earth energy, this pentacle, is only the vessel. It needs to be filled with something. It needs to contain a purpose, an intention. It needs to contain a love, a compassion, right? It needs to contain the possibility of satisfaction and fulfillment, right? We don't want these to be empty shells, or in other words, empty cups, dry vessels, right? I think this is also sort of, in a way, like our ideal world. You know, this is the ideal that we have. And I want to always point out that the 10 is not limited to just 10. It's only a 10 because they didn't want to print an 11 of Pentacles, a 12, 13, 100, 1,000, 1,000,001, 1,000,002. It'd be too many cards. It'd be unwieldy, right? And it's because we're on a base 10 system. We're on the decimal thing. So we count, 8, 9, 10, and then a lot. So this is an infinite card. Some cultures, they count in like a base 2. So they say 1, 2, and then there's a whole bunch, an infinite amount. There's base 12 and base 7 and all these different things too. We just happen to be on 10. Man, we got, 10 fingers, 10 toes. There's no limit. Okay, so when we think of goals, it's not the end of the race. The finish line isn't just, okay, quit, go home. Nothing left to do. Boring, Celebrate for a minute, but then it's just, it feels lousy. No, the finish line is just the starting line of the next race or the next lap, right? Whatever we're doing. So there is no limit to what you can accomplish and what you will accomplish. I think amazing things are happening, right? And each one of you are taking a step toward activating those amazing things. And everything's interconnected, okay? Each one of these pentacles is connected to the other pentacles. And it's not just a 10. Think of this as a million, billion, an infinite number of pentacles all connected. Yeah. And that, of course, brings us to our 9 of Wands, our strength, right? And when we're over here, this is sort of the card we don't want. And maybe this is the card we feel like we don't have when we're over here. Because it's just, over here we sort of are dominated by this fire, and this might be like, this kind of feels like it's some authority that's saying, no, you're not allowed to go do that. It's that part of ourself that just says, no, I can't, I'm not going to. Maybe it's because we don't feel strong enough. Maybe because we don't have the connection. Fire and water, right? Sun and moon, positive and negative, right? The electrical circuit has to be connected, positive and negative wires on the battery or whatever, right? That's how you activate the strength. And the strength is that confidence, that knowledge, the acknowledgement that you can accomplish these things, that you do have something to offer the world, that you can be of service, right? You just got to connect the battery. We got to connect our Queen of Wands to the battery of the Ace of Cups, and that brings about this strength. That activates our resolve, our perseverance, our tenacity. And then from there, we realize that infinite vision of the future, right? An infinite vision. The Knight of Pentacles looking at the future. What are they looking at? 10 of Pentacles, right? But the 10 of Pentacles is almost a shadowy goal that keeps moving back. It keeps growing, keeps evolving, keeps changing. Every time I look back, or every time I look forward, I guess, every time I look toward the future again, it looks a little bit different now. That's good, right? It means things are changing. It means things are happening. It means that the energy is flowing the way it's supposed to, right? If you look at it and it's totally stopped and totally stuck, something's wrong, So we have to continually check in with our future, with our goals, who we are, where we are, what we're doing. This world that we want to live in, this world that we want to create, no matter how locally or how globally. Maybe it's just you and your friends here. Maybe it's just you and family. Thinking of the future that you want and checking in with that to see how we're doing. Because this is the card of karma. This is the card that knows that every step, every thought, word, and deed is creating who we are, where we are, and what we're doing down the road. Whether it's a week or 10 years or the next lifetime. Everything we do right now is creating our future self. Every thought, word, and deed is a seed of karma. So every once in a while, we sort of have to look into the future and think, am I creating the life I want? Am I contributing through my thoughts, words, and deeds? Am I contributing to the world that I want to live in? Am I helping to make that possible? Even in the little tiniest ways. They all matter. Yeah. Let's look at our mystery card. All right. I think it should be a 10 of cups, don't you? We have the knight and the ace and the 10. We have the knight and the ace, maybe the 10 of cups. If you have a prediction, please put it in the comments. Let's see what we have. Well, it's the 6 of Pentacles. The 6 of Pentacles is good because this is someone sharing what they have. This is connection. This is community. This is a team. This is saying that the 6 of Pentacles is success. The 6 of Pentacles shows that everybody is contributing something to the collective, to the whole, to the world, to the universe, right? Now, what you're contributing doesn't need to be exactly what I'm contributing or what someone else is contributing. In fact, it's better if we all bring something different to the table. It's all equal. It's all equally important, but it's different, right? Diversity, it's different. You have different skills than I do. You have different ways of contributing to the future of the world than I do. But this is everybody sort of bringing something very valuable to the table. Everybody has something to share. Everybody has something to learn. You know, sometimes we're receiving, sometimes we're giving. Most of the time we're doing both at the same time. Simultaneously, I guess is the word I was looking for. So how can we expand? And the more we grow ourselves too, I was just thinking like I need to sort of like build my vocabulary, right? And I was thinking, well, that's something personal. That's me just sort of learning and studying and stuff. But that's a contribution too. Because the more you work to better yourself, to grow yourself, your soul, right? The more you're raising the collective vibrations of the universe, right? Raising consciousness, raising the collective consciousness, sort of, you know, one soul at a time. One thought at a time. Yeah. So this is very good. This is the card that really does say we're all in this together. That we're all contributing. Very different things, but all very necessary. Yeah, I like this. We're going to do an extended reading too. If you want to stick around, there is a link in the corner. There's one down below. New readings for each of your signs you can find in the channel page. Okay, so you'll see there, I read for every sign twice per week. Sometimes there's bonus readings, but check the channel page to find out what days your sign comes out, or just show up here every day, right? 6 a.m. Chicago time, and you can watch all the readings, okay? If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. That's the easiest way to get reminded of new readings when they come out. Also, subscribe over to Dove and Serpent Bedtime Stories. My wife has her channel, Ula Tea Leaf Readings. She does marvelous work over there. You can sub her channel too if you want a different perspective on some of these things. Yeah. Her readings and mine, they tend to really complement each other, although we do not collaborate. And that's something that there's been some confusion on, because a lot of the time we'll talk about the same things, or our readings will really complement each other in a really sort of eerie way. But we intentionally don't share our work. I don't watch her videos. She doesn't watch mine, because we don't want there to be any sort of admixture or bias. If the readings overlap, if there are synchronicities, we want them to be authentic. Okay? It's part of our sort of, it's a sincere approach to what we do. Yeah, so go check out her channel. Anyway, Ula Tea Leaf Readings. Leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you. I love you. And we're all in this together.